is Thursday, February 8th, 2024. This is a regular monthly meeting of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Lawrence, any letters or communications to the board?
Indirectly in the board that we were sent out to you, there was an email and correspondence with the new mayor of the city, and I just wanted to make you aware of, just to see the flavor of our communication is improved. I just appreciate all of his outreach, so I just wanted to let you know, and just bring your attention to that if you haven't seen that.
Okay. There's one more thing the board should be aware of. Last night at the Jefferson St. Lawrence Regional Labor Council, Mr. Lawrence gave a presentation on behalf of the Bridge and Port Authority that was very well done and very well received. So thank you.
Okay.
Approval of board minutes. January 10th, 2024, Child Care Initiative Committee meeting minutes. They've been reviewed?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
January 11th, 2024, Finance Committee meeting minutes. Mr. King,
Yep, do you want to take all those?
we'll put them all together as long as each one's been individually reviewed and approved by the committee chairs. January 11th, 2024, that's the Ogdensburg Bridge Authority annual meeting minutes. Those have been reviewed,
Yes.
Mr. King, okay.
Yes.
And the January 11th OBSI annual meeting minutes.
Yes.
And the January 11th, 2024 OBPA annual meeting minutes have been reviewed.
Yes.
Is there a motion that they are all accepted?
Also move. Second.
Okay, without changes. All those in favor of approving the submitted minutes of the 5 different meetings, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? They stand approved. Presentations and reports by committee. Finance Committee, Mr. King, for your last time?
Yes. It is my last time. So yes, we had a presentation from Pat. Is that business place we're gonna do that?
Yes.
We'll start with the statement of financial position. Under our regular accounts receivable, we are at 183,599, and 97% of that AR is either current or 1 to 30 days. So we are staying well on top of our regular accounts receivable. Our AEAS accounts receivable, we have 2 months worth of reimbursements from USDOT. One was reimbursed on the 2nd of February. The other one was submitted on the 31st of January. And as of this morning, it was indicated that it was still pending approval. So until you don't see the pending approval, it hasn't gone to the payment processing. And there was a small amount of airline AR that's either 1 to 30 or 31 to 60 days overdue. Our fixed assets have not changed in the last couple of months. The only thing on the horizon to go into fixed assets is the generator to finish the Chrissy grant equipment. Our accounts payable, our regular accounts payable is at $487,000. Our AEAS contour is at 1 month with the $337,000. Our retirement invoice was posted in December, and we have paid $96,000 toward that invoice. We will incur interest because we are not paying it off all at once. And all of our project accounts payable is at $968,000. And on our second page, you have all of our little divisions for our restricted accounts, our construction in progress, and our regular accounts payable. We are at present time at the point where we are having a bit of trouble to pay AP. We have to pay payroll and benefits and debt first. And then accounts payable is after those. Any questions on the statement of financial position? We'll move on to the budget to actual. Our fuel sales, we did know that they were budgeted too high. The actuals that we are seeing are on track to defend the reduction for the budget in airport fuel sales for 24-25. Our industrial park revenue, Anthony and I have spoken about this, and we have changed the way we budget this. We used to add the utility income to the rent income. However, the utility income actually goes to offset the utility expense. So because that is in income instead of down on the expense line, we're showing that we're not bringing in the money we were supposed to from the industrial park. But all of Anthony's tenants, everything that he had budgeted for the tenants is indeed coming in the way it was supposed to. So there is no real deficit to the industrial park. We had one more salt vessel. We have the transformers that help bring our marine terminal revenue above the expected. Something Steve and I discussed earlier this week was there is an assumption that there is no salt left on the dock on March 31st. So we do not budget for income for salt during the fiscal year until we get down to new salt coming in. So there is salt storage that we don't put in the budget, which is also helping make this so much higher than we anticipated.
Excuse me. So, James, there's roughly 120,000 tons of salt sitting on the dock now.
Correct.
And with the mild winter we've had, you think we'll be, might reach the point where we have like 60,000 tons left? Is that an unreachable goal, or is it so dependent upon the weather? Maybe we shouldn't even think that way.
I think it does depend on the weather. Right now, there is less than 5,000 tons in order in the systems. Obviously, as we've discussed before, there's usually a small lag, but I mean, if we got a little bit of weather Monday, which might happen, that 5,000 might get zeroed out by next week, but then the following week, if we get weather, we've consistently had over 6,000 the last couple of weeks with people just putting in 100 here, 1,000 here. But I think we'll be above the 60 that you predict.
Good. Of course, it may also mean we might not get as much ship-wise next year as we had in the past. Yeah. All right, sorry.
When we look at our expenses, our salary expenses for almost every category, every department are over budget only for the month of December. We had the vacation buyouts and buybacks paid out in December. They shouldn't be in salary, they should be in employee benefits. We will move that out next month. And if you look down at your general expenses, in almost every category, they are over budget for the month. We were able to pay January's commercial insurance bill in December. With the holidays, we wanted to make sure that it got paid before finance charges were added to it. Pretty much everything else is as we have been discussing it month after month. These things we're not incurring a lot of additional expenses. Of course, that means we're deferring it It's not just good luck. But we are being able to defer an amount of expenses that are allowing us to keep the expenses that we have in check. And the ones that are over budget haven't changed from last month. Our border station expenses are still being kept separate to assist with the Attorney General's request to unwind the border station and redissolve it. So we're trying to keep track of those so that we have a good handle when we go to dissolve the border station with assets instead of without. Any questions on the budget to actual? And if we move on to the cash flow is pretty much what we expect it to be. And you will notice under our expense portion that the OBPA grant portion and capital expense, you will notice that that is going up significantly. Bid package 2 for the construction of the terminal and the great room is now going to start being in our sites, so those numbers are going up. You will notice that your salaries, payroll, and benefits are going up as of April. We have April 1st, all of our CBA mandated increases to wages and benefits. Any questions on the cash flow?
Well, there's nothing here in any of the figures that we didn't anticipate, that we've been talking about for the past year. As we stated before, you can't close down a border and a bridge that we receive as much traffic over as we do and not have a significant loss of revenue. And over that period of time, how does an authority like ours make up $5 million in lost revenue? It's not going to happen. I mean, some of it has bounced back a little, but we're not back to 100%. It would be nice if we could be there before the end of this year. I think later on, the numbers that reflect bridge traffic keep improving, but obviously we have a ways to go. We're tightening our belt. You mentioned, Patty, we're not paying all of our bills as soon as they come due, unfortunately, as much as we wish we could. But, we're still in an ongoing authority that we're doing what our mission is, and we're certainly doing the best we can. Anyone else? Mr. King, anything else on finance?
I would just add that the staff's doing a nice job holding expenses in check too, but I just want to add that it's definitely contributing to trying to solve the issues.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bridge traffic report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you all can see, percentage-wise for December, even though they are down, that 15% number is encouraging because it means we're moving back toward what Sam was just talking about. We're trying to get back to zero. We anticipated, Patty, right, that we'd be running about 20% through the whole budget. So anything above that is budget-wise is better, but to come to 15 actually it's good news, even though it's one of our slowest months. December is, and you can see revenue. What's that? Oh, what? Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Right. It was January. I'm sorry. And then truck traffic actually was down a little bit, surprising there, but overall revenue was down compared to our normal year, but up 3,500 over last year. So It's slightly, it's improving. If we see that trend continue, hopefully we'll get back there by the end of the year. Any questions on that?
Now we move on to the airport activity report, Charlie.
Yes, for the month of January, again, we're suffering, we're in the decrease path right now. 30 flights was conducted, 258 in-plane passengers, so just well under 30%. Completion rates at 60%. So, and then our on-time performance at 68. So it's not great numbers. It's really sad to see this, but a lot of our flights are due to mechanical issues or crew issues currently. That's the challenge right now. Mainly on that, it's mechanical, a lot of mechanicals with aircrafts of when something happens, when you don't have spare parts, planes just end up sitting in the ground until parts gets here. So.
Anything else?
Yep, and then also I just want to let the board know too. We're heavily involved with USDOT regarding the new the upcoming EAS bids. And again, like what Mr. Chairman was talking about, any carrier that's interested in bidding, we're happy to welcome any bidders. It will benefit this community. So but we're looking at about, from the time frame that USDOT had gave me, we're looking at about 30 to 60 days before that request for proposal will be out.
From now.
Correct.
Okay.
So and then there'll be another a month for them to get it, and then after that it will be another 2-3 weeks for them to review, and then there will be for the communities comments and all those stuff attached to that, and then it will go back for the final approval.
So are we looking about like May or June?
Correct.
Okay.
For awarding.
Right. Okay.
And then another news is so it's actually a public announcement too. SkyWest has acquired 25% into Contour's stake, so 25% into Contour's business. Their main purpose of doing that is they're supplying Contour with the CRJ aircraft, so with their engine and the parts, so they're supplying all those to them. SkyWest is one of the largest operator of the CRJs in the world, so they have 150 of them, and currently they have 50 of them that's not flying currently, just spares and or going around helping out. So currently they're thinking about leasing some of those aircraft to Contour and to solve some of the and then Contour's using that advantage to solve some of the operation issue they have currently.
That is interesting.
Charlie, do you anticipate, is that currently happening, or if it does happen, will it affect what we're seeing? Will it improve performance by Contour for us?
Yes. So again, with more fleet pumping into the operations, that means that back to what we were talking about, having spare aircraft will solve that problem of one aircraft sitting in the ground. Because if you have one that has mechanical issue, at least you have another one that can come and take over. So that's what these CRJs are doing, is coming in to add more into each cities. So each city has additional aircraft availabilities. But currently we still don't know when I think the plans is slowly rolling in. So I don't know how much that will affect Ogdensburg in general, but I know in the future it will definitely improve. At least that's the plan for SkyWest.
That's a major, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I have a question. The CRJ, how big of a plane is that?
They are the same one we had
Okay.
here. So the CRJ 200s. So what they're doing is they're doing the same thing Contour's doing, is that they're taking the 50 seat down to a 30 seat and spread them out to comply with that Part 135 rules.
Okay.
So they're taking the seats out for them and then just supplying it to Contour.
Yeah, and just so there's no misunderstanding, I just wanted, SkyWest isn't part of any of this. It's just
Correct.
their partnership going forward
Correct.
with Contour. So when we talk about SkyWest, I don't want the public to think SkyWest is coming back or anything like that. It's
Right.
just, it's a familiar name for us,
Yes.
but when you start talking to the public about that, I don't want that to get misconstrued that we're getting a new carrier or anything like that. So I just want to make that point.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
But hopefully it will make our service here better.
It's a partnership with those
Yes.
two airlines.
Yes. So you mentioned, Charlie, the timetable for requests for bids going out and when it comes back and everything. I know it's a range, 30, 60 days, maybe more. Is there any way we can shorten that?
Yes, and that's one of those things that I have actually spoke with a US DOT official. You can shorten that, so that is an option, because main thing is they want as much as bidder as possible.
Mhm.
So, but if knowing that there's a bidder that's interested in this market, they will reconsider that timeline.
Okay. Okay. That may be something we would want to consider. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Anyone have any questions of Charlie before we move on? Tony? No, you're good?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Charlie. Board activity report. James?
For the month of January, we received 5 rail cars. All 5 had corn gluten meal on them, totaling in almost 500 tons. Sorry, I'll move back to salt first. I'm out of order. So last month ended, well, it started decent, but certainly ended on a high note as weather started to do its New York, upstate New York thing. Orders came in and we put to 24,295 tons of regular highway salt out and 6,492 tons of the treated salt. A small trend that Steve and I briefly talked about is briefly talked about that lag, and it seemed like the treated salt was even a few days behind the highway salt, and we were just kind of briefly talking about maybe it's because a lot of this treated salt is going to the Adirondacks, so locally they're taking care of the closer runs, and then as weather gets better, they're making the farther runs to the Adirondacks and other areas. One quick thing back to the 31st. I don't know for sure, but that ended up being a 2,600 ton day, and I don't recall us having a day that busy last winter. So just a thank you to all parties involved, the truckers, the loader operators. Just I've said to the employees that it's nice to see all the movement, nice to see loaders, more than one operator, and it's good to see things busy.
James, the treated salt, you refer to as the thaw rocks.
Correct.
Has there been any discussion out of the Adirondacks, I don't know, DEC, DOT, regarding increasing the amount that they use and where they use it on treated highways within the park or even outside the park?
Officially, I don't know, but I can say that there are quite a few places, a dozen at least, that are outside of the park that have hopped on board of the treated salt. There's actually, I won't use townships, but within 10, 12 miles on 30, just down 37, that that use it. There's actually facilities that mix it themselves too. So I think it's definitely something that'll catch on even further than what it is already.
So regional DOT is well aware that we have this option. Good. Good. Anything else, James?
Just briefly with the ag product, I started to save some rail cars. Nothing too pressing for ag moving from the port. Did just finally receive some more two pellet cars. I know we've been low on inventory for that, so that was good to see. But we can finally officially say that the Smart Path Transformer project has been completed on our end. The last 60 pieces went at the end of the month in January. So that was a first for myself that I felt went quite well. Customer was happy. They actually, flew in from Spain to be involved with the project. So, and to thank local DOT, the city, the telecommunication companies, National Grid, everybody had to, the county as well. Everybody had a part in getting the transformers to their destination as well as the crates and all the parts to go with it.
And our local ILA members were involved in all that too.
Correct.
So everyone, it worked out well. And like you say, we had a company from Spain deliver product here. And we shipped it out. It got to where it was supposed to go and everything worked out fine.
Correct.
So another feather in your cap, James. There you go. Good. Anyone else? Comments regarding the report?
Question.
Sure.
Quick, James, on the upright end situation down there, do we have any inquiries at all on that?
No, last winter would have been the last time we had a customer inquire on them.
I've had some recent conversations, so that's why I'm just wondering if there was any more.
When I first came back on the board, we were just building those. And every time I look at them, it drives me crazy that we haven't been able to use them. And at the time, we ran out of money. Remember, the third one was supposed to be the one with the dryer and everything in it.
In control room.
Exactly. It's like, what do we need to do so that that's usable? And we can attract a user for it. I don't know. Dave, you would probably certainly know a lot more than I do about it, but whatever that is, we need to get back to that point, whoever we have to talk to, because just having that piece of equipment sit down there and not being used is just, very unfortunate. I mean, the rest of our port, as James just said, our productivity, our ILA, all his staff does an excellent job. What we could do, maybe we should work with Adam down there and see what can we do so that can be useful for the port. I don't know. You have certainly much more experience.
I just, recent conversations with farmers about it, this morning. It's just not, there's bins going up everywhere.
Yeah.
You just drive around, there's bins everywhere.
I've seen two go up on my way home that are almost as big as ours, and they do have what's that in between? Is that a dryer, that kind of square thing in between?
Dryer in between, and but there's opportunity, and we really probably ought to push on that.
Is the, I want to say the yield that local farmers are getting from corn and soybeans so much more than what it used to be?
Yep, the yields are good, lots of grain being done. There's corn for instance, corn still in the field because there's no bins to put them in.
Ah,
These sit down here empty. It's very weird.
yeah.
That's all I will say. It's just, lack of no one understands how to work with us, I think is some of that too, right? It's just if you're a farmer, you can just drive up to your bin and you're in control, and you're not in control here. And so
No, you're not.
figuring
Yeah,
out how
To operate that, the operating costs that we have to charge, just isn't in the budget for
to
local
figure out how to
farmers.
do
Project to work on. There you go, James.
Lovely.
Could I ask where is it? I'm looking at the map. Is it, like, where is it located?
Between 2 and 8, the bins.
Between 2 and 8?
Yep.
Okay,
Right at the top.
okay. And there are how many bins? 2. Okay.
And there's foundation work that's been done for a third one,
Yes.
but that was cut out of the budget. And if you ever go down there, the area where there's pits and everything, there was supposed to be a enclosed control room so that you could load in all kinds of weather. That was taken out just to get it under budget. And there was a dryer with that third bin
Yes.
that wasn't put in. So in effect, it was short-sighted as far as we're working within our budget, but it probably either cut back one way or another, but we should have had the control room and the dryer for sure. I think right now, I think that dryer and everything all in them, it's about $250,000 or $300,000 just to get that there. That might be something we go out looking for in a grant situation. So we'll look into that.
Good.
Have one or both ever been leased?
No, but we have used both the pits.
Okay.
And one of those you can dump into that pit and actually transfer it into that number 8, where you see number 8.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
we have used that, and we also, we have used the rail pit, but more or less just to save transportation with just putting it in the building, storage.
Okay. Thank you.
Lost opportunity, I think. For a short time, right? Anthony, Economic Development Report?
Yes. So starting with the building occupancy report, you'll see that we're remaining consistent with our occupancy. The tenant expansion we've been working on, and we did beautiful renovations for, it's taking a little longer than expected to get them to increase, but nothing for cause for alarm at this point. It's just, that's the nature of the beast when companies are almost doubling in size with us. So we're working with them on that. A couple of highlights from the past month. I'm pleased to report that I had a great meeting with the Deputy Senior Commercial Officer for U.S. Commercial Service, who's based in the U.S. Embassy in Ottawa.
Oh.
And
I did read that.
and I'll be at the embassy next Wednesday, discussing further with their team on, in particular, what they call a single location promotion. So they would help assist and kind of match make with other organizations in Canada. We want to focus on companies that are interested in expanding to the United States, but really more importantly, our kind of partner economic development organizations that are over in Canada. They need to know about us. And when their companies, their successful companies, want to expand, we should be top of mind. We're not everything for everyone, but we do fit very good niches.
Okay.
So we're excited about that. That's an event that the Ambassador Cohen would introduce. So it would be a very good event. And we have some ideas about maybe inviting some special guests from this side of the river to
Good.
join and take part in that. Had a really good meeting recently with SUNY Canton, their VP of Strategic Relations and the Executive Director for their workforce programs, about what can we work on, everything from CNC operators and with construction skills for our light manufacturers and what programs are available. And there's been spin-off meetings from that's taking place that we're pretty excited about. So that's a good thing. And a quick update on, as you've heard over the past couple of months, there's been interested parties in our heavy industrial park parcels. They're still in their due diligence phase for both projects in particular, but they're nearing completion and still very interested. They recognize what kind of value add we bring from not just selling them property, but then being able to utilize the railroad, utilize the port. So we're excited, still very excited about those opportunities. So
Good.
if there's any questions.
Anyone?
Good.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you finally made it up to Ottawa. I know it's so far away.
Took enough, didn't it?
Did you go to a hockey game when you were up there?
No.
All right, just checking. Any further questions for Anthony? George, any unfinished business?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, let's move right into business item under B1.
Okay. Approval of lease supplement number 5 with Demers Incorporated. Staff has negotiated lease supplement number 5 with Demers Incorporated for 120 square feet of office space in Suite 201A of the Bridge Administration Building for a 1-year period commencing February 1st, 2024 and terminating January 31st of 2025 at a rate of $18.57 per square foot, equaling $185.70 per month, or $2,280.40 for the 1-year period, inclusive of utilities. All of the terms and conditions of the original lease agreement shall remain in full force and effect and are hereby ratified and affirmed. Demers has been with us for many years now, and this reflects an increase based on the change in CPI over the last year. So we're at a point with many of our tenants to where their lease rate is at. It's been set and adjusted to where we can just do increases based on CPI.
There a motion?
So
Made, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Not Karen, call the roll, please.
Mr. King?
yes.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Ms. Pittman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes,
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
thank you. Next,
Okay. Approval of advertising agreement with WPBS. Staff seeks to enter into an agreement with WPBS of Watertown, New York for 1 year of television and website advertising for the Ogdensburg International Airport, which includes 30 television spots per week and 1 rotating advertisement on WPBSTV.org at a total cost of $6,000. Agreement shall commence on February 1st, 2024 and terminate on January 31st of 2025. And we've provided a WPBS coverage map, which this agreement continues the current arrangement we've had over the past year with WPBS. A couple of things to keep in mind. Why we like working with WPBS is they have excellent Can-Am reach. They go up into Ottawa. You're looking at Watertown, and then on the other hand, they are a good nonprofit organization that gives back to the community. So by buying advertising with them, we're also an extension of giving back to the community. So it's good on all fronts.
they do have a strong reach into Canada, don't they?
Yeah. And then we would be expecting based on air service development and how that turns out to be updating the commercial probably mid-year.
Good.
So,
Excellent.
Great supplier.
of actors.
Oh, my God.
Price is that.
A lot of characters.
To be sure. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Terminelli? Yes. Ms. Pittman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Agenda item D2.
Okay, approval of T-hanger lease agreement with James Robertson. Staff has negotiated a new lease agreement with James Robertson for T-hanger number 1 at the Ogdensburg International Airport for a 1-year period commencing October 1st of 23 and terminating September 30th of 2024 at a rate of $240 per month, $2,880 for the 1-year period inclusive of utilities. Mr. Robertson's been a long time T-hanger tenant. This is just an extension, and this reflects the increase we've placed across the board.
Motion
Also moved.
made, second.
Second.
Any discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Pittman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli? Yes.
Agenda item D3.
Okay, approval of T-Hanger lease agreement with Bird Tate. Staff has negotiated a new lease agreement with Bird Tate for T-Hanger number 8 at the Ogdensburg International Airport for a 1-year period, commencing January 1st, 2024, and terminating December 31st of 2024, at a rate of $240 per month, $2,880 for the 1-year period, inclusive of utilities. Yet again, Mr. Tate has been a long time T-Hanger tenant, and this reflects the increase we've placed across the board on our T-Hangers.
Good. Motion? Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Karen, call the roll, please.
Mr. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Kennedy,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli,
Yes.
Ms. Hickman,
Yes.
Okay. Agenda item D4, and I believe we have someone here who can speak to this.
Yeah, at this time, I'd like to introduce Jeff Wood. I think you've met with Jeff before, and
Mhm.
Jeff's here to kind of give some background to this resolution. Given the size of it and what it means to the project, I thought it would be very important that he speak to you, and Jeff's always done a good job for us, so it's all yours, Jeff.
All right, thanks, Steve. I'll try to live up to that. Thanks for having me. I guess just for background, so the agreement is for the construction inspection services for the entire terminal project. But just to back up for a second, we did receive one bid today for bid package 2. We are in the process of evaluating it. At first glance, it looks like it came in right around the engineer's estimate.
Good.
So we're happy with that. We would have liked to have seen more bidders, obviously, but it is what it is at this point. There were a number of bid alternates in there. Now that we've got hard numbers, we'll go back and we'll look at the budget and we'll sit down with Steve and the staff and try to figure out where to go, what we can award and whatnot.
Along that lines, we were hoping things would be a little more clear cut, that we could bring it to you today, and with the idea that it would be dependent on what McFarland Johnson says, looking the numbers, but we need a little more work in there, but I may need to call a special board meeting only because of the timeline with this. I just need your time probably for 15 or 20 minutes. When we get this together, probably within the week, I would think.
Yeah.
Sorry to do that, but it's just so important here. So I just want to give you all a heads up. If any way you can help out on some times, and I'll be here anytime we need to be to get that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
Yep. Thanks, Steve. So the scope of work is construction administration. So part of it is project management. Part of it is grants administration. The administrative requirements for this project are intense and detailed. So we have a grants administrator who works with New York State DOT to make sure the reimbursements flow the way we want them to. There are at least 3 grants that are part of this project. There's the big New York State grant, and then there's a New York State DOT Aviation Capital Grant that pays for part of it, and then there is an FAA infrastructure bill grant that will be part of it. And fingers crossed, we have applied for another bill grant that would help fund the project too. We haven't heard on that yet, but so there's a lot of moving parts as far as the financial reimbursements, and so we've got to keep track of all that. And getting those reimbursements prepared correctly and on time and so on is critical to keeping the money flowing and getting all reimbursed and making sure everybody gets paid in a timely manner. And then the other big element of this is the on-site resident project representative. So we'll have a local gentleman who's worked here before, lives here in St. Lawrence County as our full-time on-site person. We've got 280 days, 12 hours a day budgeted for that, and then he'll be supplemented from time to time as conditions warrant. And this also includes materials testing, special inspections, all the other things that go into inspecting structural steel and whatnot. And then just dealing with the contractor and scheduling and the coordinating and all of that, and of course keeping you all informed on what's happening. So that's sort of the gist of what the scope of work is.
Coach, you realize I did get to page 8. See what's on page 8?
Number number 5.
Yeah, that would be number 5. Yeah.
Change
five.
orders.
It's not my favorite. This one.
Change orders aren't your favorite.
No, they're not my favorite.
Yeah, mine either.
Okay, all right. I see you anticipate
Yeah, you know,
some.
yeah, I mean, especially when you get into working on an existing building, things
Mhm.
always come up.
Right.
So, but believe me, I do not want to come here and present a change order to you
Good.
more than you want to receive
Good.
it, so.
Yeah, I don't know how welcome you'll be when you do.
I do too.
Okay.
You've made that abundantly clear.
Good, thank you. Anyone have any questions of Jeff before we move on to the resolution? Well, again, this isn't your first time with us.
Yep.
And obviously, you've done work for us before that has been very acceptable. And I believe I've worked fairly well together. And I don't see any reason why we shouldn't in the future, as long as you don't bring me 50 work changes, so.
Noted.
Okay.
Noted.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And seconded. Is there any further discussion? None? Karen, call the roll, please.
Ms. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Ms. Pickman?
Yes.
Mr. Burns?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
We're getting
Thank
going.
you.
Jeff has a son that is going to Clarkson, and so he's
Oh.
gonna head out to have dinner with him tonight. So
Good, good.
we tried to time things so that, but I guess he's still in class, so
Yeah,
it
he's
wasn't
got
as
his
important.
class that's out shortly, so it'll work out perfectly.
They're going to Sergi's, so.
Oh.
It is a decent school, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's okay.
They're hockey
Great engineers.
Their hockey's all right.
This is my second kid going through Clarkson.
Oh, good,
Wow.
So
good.
I've made my contributions.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Jeff.
Take care.
We'll talk later on.
Sounds good, Steve.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let me get my next page here. You didn't think I wasn't gonna find that in there, did you?
I knew this way.
Where am I? Is it the last page?
Yeah, of the packet. Yeah.
I think Karen hit it on me.
There you go.
Agenda item E1.
E1, approval of electrical connection to complete Chrissy grant. The electrical connection of the generator and conveyors is the last and necessary acquisition to ensure all pieces purchased under the Chrissy grant are operable. This purchase of this connection must be made in order for staff to be trained to operate and maintain the equipment. As Collins Hammond is already being used to purchase the connection equipment, it was felt that they would be the best choice for the training so that everything was consistent.
Certainly does make sense.
It's would be 2 100-foot cables to reach the hopper conveyor and the telescoping conveyor. That way the generator's set back far enough
Mhm.
from debris and everything else.
Good. So this is it. This is the last pieces of the Chrissy grant?
Yeah, the Chrissy grant closes out March 31st. So we've already asked for 3 delays. So extensions, yeah, sorry. Thank you. That sounds better.
No, the delays were with the Melsware, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But the extensions, a lot of it was supply chain things, but now that we have everything, we've got to get that training done by
Good,
the
good.
31st of March of this year.
And
Excellent.
I actually can confirm next Thursday, the 15th, the generator company, well, the provider will be here to conduct the load testing. We'll get both ILA and CSEA trained on maintaining, operating. So
Good, excellent. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Made, second? Any further discussion? Not, Karen, call the roll, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Terminelli?
Yes.
Ms. Pittman,
Yes.
Mr. Byrne,
Yes,
Ms. Kennedy,
Yes.
thank you. No railroad, no border station.
Mr. Chairman, can I back up just a second?
Yes,
Something that I had here and I totally missed it. When Jeff gave us the quote, at that kind of price, anything over $100,000 requires an IFE, which is an independent fee estimate. So what you do is you give the scope to another engineering firm, and then they come back with their estimate of what it should cost. And that's a requirement from us to the FAA. So I did have that done. I should have said this, but the engineer's estimate from BCA Architects out of Watertown came back that it should be in a range between $2.5 million and $3 million. So we're way under that range. So probably it's a compliment to Jeff, but I'm sorry
Yeah.
I missed that. But I just need to know that. But
Right.
when we go for our money to pay for that work, this has to go along with that to justify
to
that.
show that.
Now, if his numbers, I think there's a 10% range. As long as you're within that range, you're okay. But this one's well under that, so it
Good,
is a good thing for McFarland.
yes.
Sorry about getting out of line there.
No, thank you for that information. Anything else, Mr. Lawrence?
None that I know of, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a need for executive session, Mr. Lawrence?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Any concluding comments from members or staff? Anyone online? Jan, you still with us? Thank you.
Slow on the unmute, but yes, I'm here.
Nothing? No comments? No nothing? Okay, in light of that, proposed next meeting is March 14th, Thursday at 5 PM. How does that look?
Touch and go.
Touch and go? Ms. Tornelli, you have to be here at 4:30 to chair your first finance committee meeting.
I can do that, but I need to be back in the season by 6:30 would be my issue. We've got a spring concert at the school, so I have to be present.
Yeah,
As far as I know, we won't have much.
Good,
we can do that. We'll keep that in mind.
okay.
Yeah, I can be.
We can move it earlier too, like I said. I know I don't need to be here at 5 anymore. It can be,
You could make
We could come
earlier,
in a little,
but
if that would work
Does that
better.
help?
but Nicole can't make earlier.
you can't make it earlier, but you can make that time frame.
Yeah, I just might have to leave a little bit early.
Okay.
I might have to scoot out by 5:30.
Well, we'll all keep that in mind.
Okay.
Yes,
I won't be here, but it looks like we'll have quorum.
okay. All right, maybe Ms. Whitten can make it.
I mean, if,
I think I'm what goes on Friday for me. Whether I can make it or not.
If we can't, and near the end, Karen doesn't care. We should call everybody.
I mean, I might be able to like
You
push
can do it.
the phone if it's like a quorum. issue.
If you can't,
Send
if
out a
you can't,
Google poll and 15 email reminders to me. I love that, thank you.
if you can't, you can't. We can always change it. But obviously, as Mr. Lawrence stated earlier, there may be a need for a very quick meeting prior to that. And it would be a very quick meeting. One agenda item that maybe if we had to do it Saturday morning or something, or whatever works.
Right.
Whatever works for everyone, yeah. Before that spring break when, certain people feel they have to go south. All I want is cold weather for my rink. All right, anything else? If not, is there a motion to adjourn? And seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you all.